So welcome to this next talk, Wednesday 6 p.m, in which I happen to be exactly on the beach, exactly like I was saying, that today's talk would happen on sunset. And well, we have a little bit of sun, maybe, the light is there for sure, but it's a little bit cloudy today. And hopefully you'll be hearing me all right. And this is going to be a first, so let's see how it goes. Now, these talks that I organize once a week, the purpose is basically to raise awareness about mental health issues, and just to talk about in general about different topics along that topic, and along different topics on our wellness and our well-being. And of course, sometimes I have special colleagues, guests who join us to have more of a casual conversation, and hopefully filled with lots of information, insights, also here to answer any questions. Of course, everything that I talk about here and my guests talk about are based on my own clinical experience in the last 20 years of mental health practice, and also those of my colleagues and volunteer guests who join the talks, and sometimes I have my talks on my own. So again, if any of you are struggling, please don't hesitate to send me a personal message. I do online consultations as well. And of course, if you're suffering and you're sometimes online might not necessarily be the right way forward. So all the talks and the things that I share over here doesn't really replace any kind of help that might actually be needed for you. So maybe the best advice would be to seek professional help in your area, in the country that you're in. So today's talk is going to be focusing on therapeutic retreats. So the benefits of therapeutic retreats. And hi for those who are joining. And again, here we're in beautiful Bali on the beach and having this talk. It's always nice to be in a different setting. I like having my therapy sessions outdoors sometimes. I don't do it all the time, and usually in my training we've been we were taught to actually have a contained space in an office space that's quiet and containing, definitely that has its place. But also in my experience, I've noticed that outdoors also has something quite special. Even just like sitting outside in the garden, it might even be sitting down in an open space. Even walking tends to have a really nice effect in basically allowing the person to express themselves better and to sometimes go deeper into their healing process. So it's definitely something that can be quite beneficial. Not necessarily for every person, but sometimes for some people. So therapeutic retreats. What are retreats? And you probably have a lot of different type of definitions, but generally a retreat is really an opportunity for people to take a step back from their routine life and give themselves an opportunity to delve into their life in different ways, maybe as part of a detox, a way to take a step back. I mean, detox could be looking at the way that the way we're eating, perhaps go on a detox because the detox can be I haven't been eating in a optimal way for me, and this is a way for me to kind of recharge. So I might go to a retreat, spend maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, to kind of work on my shape and how I feed my body. You have other retreats that are more focused maybe just purely on meditation. So you have like silent retreats. People go on these retreats called vipassanas, so they can go for a week, they can go for 10 days, they can even go for much longer than that, and these can be quite intense. You have other retreats that are for just yoga only, and even retreats for personal training, so it's a bit like boot camp. I don't know if this is something that you've ever been on or experienced before, but each one of these retreats definitely has something really powerful and positive to give. But yet there are some retreats that are not necessarily the best one for you, and I've had people who've had not necessarily very pleasant experiences, maybe because they've been on the wrong type of retreat for them. And some people, they might have just gone into a meditation retreat. They've never done any meditation before. It was kind of a silent type of retreat, which can be quite intense. And it really kind of was extremely triggering for them. And it brought out so many unresolved emotions and traumas that it ended up being more traumatic as an experience as opposed to what it was intended to be. So sometimes it's really about giving oneself a chance to really understand, learn a little bit more about what the retreats are, what might be a good thing for me, and ask around as well. I mean, not all retreats will have healthcare professionals involved, and I think that's really a key element as well in some cases. I mean, now I've been offering therapeutic clinical mental health type retreats for a few years now. Of course, now in the last year during the pandemic, this has kind of reduced, obviously because of travel. We usually have a lot of people who used to come from abroad, but it's what I've noticed that it's definitely has its place in terms of a healing process, in terms of even a clinical work. That means even people who have been in mental health work or even in psychotherapy for a long time, and they've had some benefit, but they're still kind of in their journey of recovery and work, have still found huge benefit from going on the type of retreats that I've been offering that's been very customized and tailored to the needs of the person, in which the therapist, that means myself, has been involved with them from the first day to the last day, in which we've been seeing each other on a daily basis for some people. So it's been quite intense, and there are many other elements to it. So people get to discover what yoga is, they discover what meditation is in real time, hands-on, and not just an advice that your therapist is probably telling you or encouraging you to discover what meditation is. And then you're just going back to your office or you're going back to your house, and it's something that you're working on, but it's a little bit more difficult than actually just doing it in a place where you are exclusively immersed in an environment where you can actually learn hands-on how to apply these practices and how to experience them for yourself, and then to prepare yourself to integrate these practices when you go back to your country. So again, these are a really wonderful type of approach. Wonderful in the sense that they're quite comprehensive. There's many different, and because it's tailored, you have different practices. You've got a schedule. You know exactly what you're going to be, what your meal plan is going to be that day. Again, depending on what we're having to address, it's quite comprehensive. So you might have a discovery, let's say, of Tai Chi. There are some other elements that you might like. That's for one type of retreat that I offer. I also offer other type of retreats which are perhaps much lighter. There's less psychotherapy involved. There's more kind of education, more of a time to take a step back, relax, take it easy, enjoy yourself, and get a little bit of counseling here and there. So it really, across the board, it goes from something that can be very light, just a few days to maybe a week, to something a bit more comprehensive that can last even like a month to even like a month and a half. I've had people who've been coming here with the desire to go through some rehab, and with a full team of experts, we've been able to offer that type of space and therapeutic space to actually help them along the way, and the benefits have been quite tremendous. So this is a little bit about what I've been offering. These retreats that I've been offering have been under the name of Choices Retreats. So there's another page where I talk a little bit more about that, which you're welcome to have a look at as well. So today I'm joined with a special guest who's volunteered to come today to talk a little bit about her own experiences. So I would like to introduce you to Nora. And hi, Nora. Hello. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah. So here we are. We're gonna just move this around so that everybody can see us. And also, if you have any questions, it's important, just go ahead. You can just ask them, and then we'll try and answer them. So Nora, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And I think it's nice maybe for people just to know a little bit more. I know that you've had different experiences with retreats, and also you've had like an experience of a retreat also with myself. you've done it also. So it would be nice maybe for you if you'd like to share a little bit what your experiences have been across the board.
So I have been on different retreats for burnout, but also for PTSD, just to help myself. But the experiences I made with different retreats all over the world was that when there was no health practitioner on site, I did not receive the tools that I needed in the end to go home and just to implement the week or week and a half that I went on these journeys to have a lasting result. And then I came here to Bali, met you, and it just helped me to get these tools that I was looking for with an intense program that you offered, and including all the relaxation that was just needed at the time that you don't get when you're at home, when you get home all the time after work. You get some massage at the weekend, but with 40 hours of work throughout the week, you just don't have the time to relax, to wind down, which we had here in such a nice, serene environment, together with really good nutrition program that was also offered just to concentrate on yourself and your healing.
And this can be, I mean, was it something that was daunting at first, or like was it something that you were apprehensive about at the first, or was it something that you were quite excited about? I mean, of course, because you wanted to work on very specific, particular things for you. I mean, did you have mixed feelings about it, or what was your general feel just beforehand? Without going into too much detail, of course.
I was a bit apprehensive in the beginning. Because I wasn't sure if such an intensity would not be overloading, but it was the contrary. It was quite the right amount what I needed at the time, and I could take myself back and at any time when needed. But initially, there was just a doubt: would it be the right program? But as it was individualized and not a group setting, it was fitting for my individual needs.
Yes, I think you're touching on a really important point, which is basically there's a lot of retreats perhaps out there, and they might offer a lot, and maybe it's not necessarily paced at the rhythm that's right for you, and maybe it's not personalized enough, and that means that you can feel like very overwhelmed. Whereas, so in this case, it was much more like tailored and paced, and I think that comes also with a team that's involved to know how to read each person and to take the time that's right for you, right? Yeah, yeah. Because I often hear from other people that been on other retreats that they just felt very overwhelmed by what's going on, or because they found themselves in a group with other people. Has this been something you've experienced?
In a group setting, I just felt at the wrong place. I just didn't feel like I actually could go into myself enough.
Okay.
And my problems weren't heard, and I just could not open myself, to be honest.
Yes. So you felt kind of restricted a bit, like blocked in some way.
Exactly.
In a group setting. Was the group kind of retreat experience you've had like still beneficial in some respect, or would you say, what would you say?
It certainly was a nice experience to see people that suffer from similar conditions and to hear their stories. Unfortunately, they didn't relate to me. So someone else's story was interesting to realize, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
However, it just did not help me to find the tools to cope better in my own life.
Yes. Okay. And these retreats that you were going on, were they retreats that were focused on one specific modality, or was it mixed?
It was mixed. They still offered individual nutritional plans. They also offered some relaxation therapies and some downtime and some tours just to get out and just to have a little bit of cultural experience.
Yes.
However, there was no individual psychological
input that was there. Yeah. And these retreats, you had done them in like different parts of the world. Would you say that location is important?
location is important.
Location is important. Okay.
It certainly makes a difference
Yeah.
in the middle of the bustling city or
Yeah.
in such a serene environment here at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I certainly enjoyed other places like Mexico as well.
Okay.
But it was similar to here, beautiful beach,
Yeah.
just the jungle, the rainforest, and
Yes. Yes.
just a nice and warm.
Yeah. So there's something about the warmth, right? Being in a warm climate. Obviously, I suppose, like for the majority of people, they would feel more contained. Maybe there's just something about the temperature
And the sun,
and the sun.
to be honest.
Obviously, the sun. Yeah. Yeah.
Having lived in Germany for many years of my life, the sun is just something you don't see very often.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the sun
Yeah.
certainly helps. It puts a better mood on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just something that helps to get
Yeah.
a smile on my face.
Of course, and I guess the experience would be totally different if you were doing this. I mean, who would go on a retreat under the snow? You know, I don't know. Maybe it exists. I haven't looked into that, but
Wouldn't be my first choice.
yeah.
Something to try.
I mean, unless if you're you're trekking maybe somewhere in the Himalayas or in Nepal, or you're going somewhere that's like high altitude and there's a little bit of snow there. That must be some interesting experience.
Why not? Maybe
Why
we'll
not?
take up on that one later.
That could be like some new venture maybe to think about.
Why not?
What are the type of retreats that you would like to go on? I guess that becomes a question to everybody, really. It's like, think about it. What would be like your ideal type of retreat? If you've never thought about it before, maybe that's like an idea. What would be like an opportunity for you to take that step back? Would it be like going in a forest? Would it be like going to the beach? Would it be like going to the mountains? You know, would it be like in the cold, in the snow, in the desert? You know, there's so many environments, yeah? Is there anything else that you'd like to share about, at least to the audience, with respects to retreats, any kind of takeaway message or any kind of like message that you feel could be important?
In the end, for me personally, it was always
Yeah.
about the package.
Yeah.
It's
About the package, you mean?
the package
Yeah.
to get away, to get out of the home, of the bustling city, and to get away from the stress, to actually get some healing and some time
Yes.
out for myself.
Yes.
And just to have just one part, like just a nice nutritional detox program,
Yes.
would not be enough for me personally. Exercise is a great way to also clear the head, clear the mind, and just to stay with the moment.
Yes.
That helped also to focus better.
Yes.
And that together, exercise, together with a good nutritional plan, and a really great environment,
Yeah.
different culture, together with a good healthcare program,
Yes.
food and needs.
Yeah.
That was just what really attracted me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. In terms of the nutritional plan, how important is nutrition in such a plan, or at least how important is it? How important was it for you?
It was really important because often we think we do live healthy,
Yeah.
but we always can learn something more about it.
Yeah.
And when we come home after a 10-hour day, how often do we prepare a nutritious meal
Yeah.
that really helps us to provide our body with everything we need?
Yes.
So it's much easier then to just step back and have a look at the different flights.
Yeah.
Are there other options? And I personally don't really like cooking. However,
Yeah.
if it's done within 15 minutes, perfect. And
That's perfect, yeah.
I did learn a lot how
Yeah.
to create perfect meals, great meals within 15 minutes.
Yeah. Amazing. And I guess some people will say, all right, so you come to a retreat, you've done this kind of work, you've had so much benefit, and then you go back. How was your experience going back? And what would your personal opinion be in terms of like what would you like to tell other people about the going back part?
With certain retreats I did in the past, before I came here to Bali, I went back and it was back to the same habit, back to doing exactly the same as I did before. So I felt a bit disappointed about myself and that it just didn't take or grow roots. However, the difference that I found here in Bali was that I just got tools that I could take home to make a difference.
Yes.
That will last time.
So that was the difference between other retreats you had been on
Exactly.
and this retreat, is that you had tools that you were able to kind of work on. It wasn't like the miracle
There
kind
is
of
no miracle
switch.
solution.
Right, yeah.
However,
Yeah.
even small changes
Yeah.
in my life helped me just to a little bit more every time, a little bit more getting stronger, more resilient.
Yes, yes, because it's a process.
Exactly.
You know, the process. What do you call this process for you?
It was a very slow
Yes.
growing process, more becoming aware.
More becoming aware.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was more awareness that I grew over time with
Yeah.
the tools that were given,
Yes.
and that I then could make conscious changes.
Yeah. So you're able to make more conscious changes. I guess some people will have the impression that when they come to a retreat, you know, something like that, then after a week or after 2 weeks or whatever time they've spent, that means everything is kind of cured, right?
That would be nice.
That would be nice, right? Yeah. But I think maybe the word transformative might apply in some cases.
So,
Yeah. I think for other people that I've seen, it's been quite transformative as an experience where they've taken away so much that it's really allowed them to continue in their life in a different way, right? A more manageable. Well, there was a shift that actually happened. But then for others, as you said, it was like more of a gradual process, taking the experience, being able to grow, and then continuing the process as you progress, basically. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And very different from having your, seeing a therapist once a week or once every 2 weeks. I don't know. That's been maybe an experience prior to going on a retreat for you.
yes, it was.
It was.
Over
Yeah.
a period of 2 years, actually, and there was no real growth. There was no transformation at all.
And why would you say that was? And of course, that's from your own personal experience. What were the maybe the elements that made that so for you?
It was the pure fact of coming from a long working day, stressed into the psychological practice, and then just trying to find the calmness to get to the point where we wanted to work on.
Yeah.
And the moment I left the
Yes.
practice, the office, then going back home, having a household, having a pet, having a partner, and having to look after pretty much everyone, and
Yes.
still continuing my normal life, which
Yes.
made it hard to implement
Yes.
the advice that I was given.
Yes. So you say that it wasn't like intense enough, it wasn't frequent enough. I mean, we're talking about, I often hear some people in some countries seeing their therapist sometimes once a month. Not because, simply because that's what they're told. They can only be seen once a month.
Yeah,
Which-
the waiting list is quite long.
The waiting list is quite long, so it's, even though at least a bare minimum, we would say, at least in an intervention, you would think once a week is important, if not more than that, at least initially. In other countries, there's such a waiting list that there are some people who are waiting for seeing a therapist once a month. And for a lot of people who don't have the experience, they think that this is the process, once a month, right? And then they don't notice any changes. They say, I've done therapy, I've seen a psychotherapist, but I'm still not progressing. And then when I ask the question, so how frequent has it been? They, a lot will say, well, once a month, which is kind of, astounding in a way. But I guess, every country has its obstacles, and it can be challenging. So yes. Anything else that you would like to add about like this theme of, or questions? I don't know if anybody has questions. Please go ahead. Answer, ask. Okay. So hopefully this was quite insightful. I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add?
It's just a nice place to come to. And Bali culture is just something people need to see at least once in a while.
Yes, it's so true. So hopefully soon things will open up again, and Bali will become like an option for people to come over here and to really be able to take that step back and in the way that is going to be right for them. Because again, there's different types of retreats. You can have it very light, you can have it very intense, you can have it as a rehabilitation type of process. And so today is going to be the end of the talk. We're going to keep it like this because now the sun is gone. It's getting a bit dark. We're managing. Hopefully you've enjoyed this talk today as much as I did. Hopefully Nora as well.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Okay. So hopefully it's been very insightful. And again, any questions, please don't hesitate to just message me. And that's all for now. And wherever you are, I wish you peace and you know, in your own process, that things are going to get better. And I'll be talking next week, next Wednesday, for another talk, hopefully with another guest that's going to be like another interesting topic. All right, bye everybody, bye for now, thanks.